Event is starting. We are live.
What's going on?
How's it going, guys?
It's going good here.
What's up, Mason? What's up, Brock?
Event is starting.
There we got it.
What's up, Zach? Yo, just chilling, getting this live stream rolling. We got Jake with us tonight, guys, from White Rock Decoys.
Hey, everybody.
What's up, Hooks?
You know all these guys?
You know, here or there. Some
of them?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of them are returned, so. Yeah.
That's cool.
Usually we just kind of let everybody roll in for the first few minutes and just kind of chat. And what's up, Will? What's up, Angel?
How's the temp down there? We hit 100 degrees up here yesterday.
Oh wow, it was upper 90s. I don't know if it hit 100, but I was driving most of the day.
I suppose.
Yeah. We're talking about decoys tonight, not guns.
There we are. I'm definitely not a gun guy, so if you guys want to know about guns.
Oh yeah? What kind of gun you shoot?
I have a Benelli Super Black Eagle 2, but it's pretty rare I even shoot anymore. Honestly, I got my camera out most of the time. So
nice. What's up, somewhere in Wisconsin? I think somewhere in Wisconsin, he's a YouTuber as well. I think he hunts in District 9 as well. I think that's where you guys hunt, right?
Pool 9, yeah, we hunt on the Mississippi River for sure. So we definitely get down to Pool 9.
Nice.
Absolutely. As well as a few other places for sure. Yeah, Wisconsin. So I live in Minnesota, and the actual company is located in La Crosse, so Wisconsin. So yeah, we're Minnesota, Wisconsin boys for sure.
So you get licensed for both then, I'm guessing.
I do. Yep, for sure. There's a tricky river license deal there. If you're hunting on what side of the main channel, that's what license you have to have on, but it's not always the middle of the main channel. That's the rule. It's kind of weird, but
that's weird.
Just get both, then you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, for us, for us in Indiana, like if you do Indiana, Kentucky at the Ohio River in southern Indiana, you just have to have one or the other, and you can hunt anywhere, which seems like that makes way more sense.
Right. There was a big bass fishing tournament up here a couple of years ago, and the guy got disqualified because he thought he was fishing in Wisconsin, and he was actually fishing in Minnesota, and somebody called him out on it and was like, "You're doing it wrong." Brandon panicked or Palick, one of those big bass tournaments, and he was going to win, and then instead, like he was going to win $100,000, and they pulled it from him because of a silly middle of the channel rule.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So about what percent of your duck hunts do you do up in that area? Do you travel around a lot, or is that mostly where you go on the book?
I would say we have 60-day season, right? October and November, straight season. And I would say we hunt about 20 or 30 days on the river in, our home area. So
and how crowded? I've heard different reports. I've heard people say it's just crazy crowded up there, and then I've heard people say that it's not.
It's going to depend on where you're coming from, obviously. If you're coming from North Dakota, it's ridiculously crowded. If you're coming from Arkansas, it's not so bad. And I've been to all those places, so I would say it's in the middle.
Okay.
I would definitely say there's a lot of guys, but if you know how to get away from them, it's huntable. Obviously we do just fine. So if you got to,
have you ever heard of Cheyenne Bottoms?
I've heard of them. Yes.
It's middle of Kansas, and it's, just massively huge.
Yeah.
Wetland area, and a lot of the locals around here, like on the forums and stuff, they're always complaining about how crowded it is.
Yeah.
And we go out there, and I mean, I'm from a lot busier part of the state, on the eastern side, but we go out there and we don't feel crowded at all. I mean, there's lots of hunts you can maybe see a group.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if it's just not that perspective Like, guys hunting 15, 20 years ago never saw anyone on a day.
Yeah.
And then they have, they can see a group within range, and that's crowded. I just can't understand what they're saying.
Right. Yeah, it's all how you look at it for sure. I mean, there's times if you're hunting later in the year when stuff starts freezing up and you got to hunt the more pressured areas, you're hunting within 100 yards of multiple groups for sure. And it's something you learn to deal with, and we can talk about it later for sure. But it's a really popular area because it's all public land, and there's hundreds and hundreds of miles of public land that you can hunt. But all the guys go right up to the refuge line, right? Like there's lots of closed areas, and that's where all the ducks are. So that's where all the guys are. And if you want to hunt right on that refuge line, you're going to be looking at other people. But if you can get off that like close zone, you can kind of have some room for yourself for sure.
So hunting there so often, you probably know pockets and places.
Right. And if Saturday morning would not be the ideal time to go if you want to get away from people. But if you can go on Tuesday afternoon, you pretty much got your pick of spots, for if you can do that kind of stuff. But
yeah, I am going to get up there and hunt eventually. Probably won't be this year, but I know my parents, they go up right in that area during the summer when it's hot a lot of times.
Oh, it's a beautiful area. Yeah, we choose to live here for sure. There's a lot of stuff to do, and it's really cool. We were out on the river 3 days in a row this weekend for the long weekend. We were out there, just fishing and driving the boat and swimming with the kids. So,
how clear is the water up there?
In the spring it's a little dirty. Right now you can probably see a foot, but it can get clear. It can get 2 or 3 foot visibility, and then obviously in the
winter it gets clear.
In the winter it's clear. Yeah, we freeze all the way across here. The main channel freezes all the way across of the river, but that's clear.
Wow.
Cool. So.
All right, I guess let's go ahead and jump into the recorded part of the podcast.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. What's going on, guys? Thanks for joining us again for another episode of the Duck Gun Podcast. I'm Jordan from Gun Chronicles. Got my co-host alongside me, Graybeard Elliott from Freelance Duck Hunting, and our guest for today is Jake from White Rock Decoys. How's it going, Jake?
It's going great, man. How you doing?
Doing great.
Good.
So I guess go ahead and let us know a little bit about what you got going on at White Rocks and about yourself.
Yeah, I can definitely do that. A little company history for sure. So I am Jake. I'm one of 3 owners of White Rock Decoys. We are known as kind of your mobile decoy solutions leader in the industry, really. We've been around for 9 years right now. It's going to be our 10-year anniversary in 2019. So we make windsocks and silhouette decoys is kind of what we focus on for snow goose hunting and Canada goose hunting and duck hunting and any kind of hunting that you want to do that you need to have light decoys or lots of decoys or, budget friendly decoys. That's what we do. That's what we are. So.
Awesome. So what would you say, as far as how many decoys? I know you guys run a ton. So how many decoys do you guys normally run?
So that's a really loaded question, but so when we started right out of college, and we decided we were going to be snow goose hunters, right? It's my buddy from middle school. I've known him since Adam. I've known him all the way growing up, and we were duck hunters. And then I met my buddy James in college. I actually met him through the refuge forums. I don't know if you've guys been on the refuge forums. Way back 10 years ago, we went to the same college, and we connected to the refuge forums. And we started hunting the Mississippi River, right? We're duck hunters. And we were hunting just like everybody else, 2, 3, 4 dozen duck decoys on the river. And we do okay. We shoot some ducks for sure. But all of a sudden we found ourselves having a lot of time in the spring, right around spring break. And we decided we were going to be snow goose hunters. So we drive from Minnesota, Wisconsin here out to South Dakota in the spring for 2 or 3 weekends. And we tried to decoy snow geese, and that was kind of our start. And we gathered, 600 to 800 windsock, like north winds. You guys ever see those north wind decoys?
Not familiar with them, no.
So they were 10, 15 years ago. It was really the only windsock decoy in the world. It was a fiberglass stake or steel stake and a windsock bag. And when there was no wind, they would just kind of lay flat on the stake. Really wouldn't do anybody any good, right? So we had 600 of those, and we wanted to get bigger because 600 isn't enough to hunt snow geese, is at least what we decided, or what we thought. So we started buying Silosock decoys back then. And like I said, just right out of college. So we were scraping our money together and we bought 10 dozen Silosocks and we started using them. And we got to the point and said, man, is this really what we're going to have to, like, this is what everybody's moving towards. They're buying these Silosocks and we just didn't really like them that much. So we kind of left it there. You know, we liked our north winds, but we didn't like they didn't work without any wind. And we didn't really like the Silosock avenue. So we came back that summer. Like I mentioned, we live on the Mississippi River. We were camping on one of the sandbars, and Steinberg comes out in his boat, and he's got one of our Northwind decoys. And he's got, here, I got one here I can show you guys for the live stream. But he's got a back support in it. So the windsock will stay up off the ground, right? When there's no wind. We're like, all right, that's cool, Steinberg. We've heard that and we've seen that before. He's like, yeah, but watch this. And he grabs it and he folds back support down on the stake. Like, whoa, cool. I've never seen that before. That looks really cool, Steinberg. And then he does a little shake and it pops back up like that. And we're like, whoa, now that that is cool. That is something that we'd never seen before and never even heard of or understood the concept of, because it never existed before. And they're like, Steinberg, how did you do that? You know, we got to make those. We need those in our Northwind decoys. That's the perfect decoy. That's what we were looking for. And we're like, all right, yeah, we can make them. No problem. We can get the parts and stuff, and we're going to cut them out in the garage. Meanwhile, James, my other buddy, he's kind of got the go get 'em mindset. He took that idea and a couple samples to a couple guides that were running out of Mound City. And now, back 10 years ago, snow goose guiding wasn't the same game as it is today. There was, a handful of guys running around Squaw Creek, but there happened to be a few guys that live close to us. So he took that collapsible back support idea to these guides, and one of the guys was like, that is exactly what I was looking for. I cannot believe what you just showed me. Can I have 3,000 of them? Like, yeah, you can have 3,000 of them. And he took it to another guy. And he was like, holy crap, man, that's so cool. Can I have 1,000? And we're like, we're starting to add numbers, right? So 3,000, 2,000. Yeah, we got to make 5,000 windsock back supports this summer for these guys. Like, okay.
What year was this?
So this was right out of college, I think maybe 2007. Okay. I would say 2007. And that was kind of the start of us just in the garage, and we made 5,000 of these back supports, put them in our old Northwind decoys, and then we used them, us 3 guys, that following spring. And they worked just like we hoped they would. I mean, it was what we were looking for, the direction we wanted to go with our snow goose rig. So ended up selling those Silosocks, buying some more Northwinds, and started growing our spread like that. Now, we didn't really understand what we were doing at that point, but we decided, we're 20, 21, 22, and said, hey, we got to, start a decoy company. So Steinberg happens to be an engineer. So he went to college for engineering. He knew how to design these plastic pieces that we were making in the garage that first year. And we needed a mold and we needed some plastic. So we scraped every single penny of our existence into a mold. I think it cost about 12 grand. And we made a mold for the windsock decoy back support.
And at that age, 12 grand's a lot of money.
Right. I mean, 3 grand or 4 grand a piece. I mean, we didn't even hardly have it. We were scraping the bottom of the barrel, but we decided that's what the investment needed to be. And the response after that first year from those 2 guides and showing it to a few other people that we knew, we're like, I guess let's try something. So that's what we did. That didn't really answer your question on how many decoys we used, but it did bring it back to the point of, that's kind of where the company started. And the whole point was, as a snow goose hunter, we want to use more decoys. It's always more and more and more. And we started with 600, and, we knew we wanted to get to that 1,000 or 1,200, or, now for snow geese, we're hunting 1,500, 1,800. So we really wanted to make something that made sense, and we had the right mindset, and that's what we did. So
So how quickly did you guys grow to the point where you're like, all right, this is what I do?
So we started that first year, we just sold a back support. So we didn't sell anything but a back support for a windsock decoy that some people would already have. From there, I would say maybe 2 to 3 years, we figured out how to sell a white bag on a stick with the back support in it. We decided we want to make White Rock Decoys into a business. I figured out a website, figured out how to source some different stuff. We were still doing it in the garage at that point. And James called me one day and he says, "Hey, Jake, you'll never guess who just called me or I got off the phone with." And I said, "Oh, I don't know who." And he's like, "Cabela's." "Oh, Cabela's called." Okay, great. So we're 24 years old and Cabela's just called and said, "We want to put your decoys in our store." And we said, "Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, we totally like to do that."
Let us get back to you.
Right. Well, and that's really what's funny was the guy, his name was Ed. I remember he told us something that I never would have guessed, but he says, "Just so you know, you only get one shot." And I've kind of worked with some younger guys like you before, but if you're coming into Cabela's, you better be ready. So if you're not ready yet, just tell us, go get ready, and then, let us know, because we're here, we're watching, we like what you're doing. So we said, okay, we'll let you know. We told Cabela's, just hold on a second. And we honestly, it took us another year to kind of figure out what get ready meant in like the whole world business side of things. It was, packaging and hitting timelines and the dollars and cents that made sense and logistics on shipping pallets and storing stuff. We can't do it in the garage anymore if a semi truck has to come get a pallet from you. So that was year 3, year 4. I think we called back and said, "Okay, Cabela's, we're ready." And as soon as that first catalog hit from Cabela's and we were on their website and in their stores is when we really saw, okay, that's a legitimate of everybody kind of knowing who we are, some other retailers, some other hunters in the industry. Everybody's kind of going with White Rock Decoys mindset, and we're a real brand. We got a little following going on. So I would say year 5 is when I quit my real life job. I like to say I retired at 27.
We're at like 2012 at that point.
It would have been like 2012. Yeah, 2013 probably. Yeah, so 5 years to fully grow the line to a point where we have more than just a headless snow goose windsock and a few things. So
yeah, and that's fast. That's quick.
Yeah, and that was the business side of things for sure. That was how that all kind of went down from more of a hunting standpoint, and where I really see kind of where we're going with this concept or where it's gone the last 5 years. At that 5-year point, we had a full line of snow goose windsocks, right? So snows, blues, some headed ones, a storage bag. At that point, we were the owners of a decoy company that sold snow goose decoys, and we only hunt snow geese like a week out of the year. The rest of our time, like we were talking about, is spent on the Mississippi River or traveling to North Dakota in the fall or, wherever we want to go. And we don't own a Canada goose decoy. We're not Canada goose hunters. We never really have been. And that was all mostly because we didn't have Canada goose decoys. We, I've owned 4 Canada goose hard plastic full body decoys in my life, but we kind of wanted to be, right? We're a decoy company. So we jumped on the idea of, all right, let's make a Canada goose and a duck windsock decoy. Having never hunted over a Canada goose windsock decoy, not knowing anybody else who had really, like, there hadn't been a thing since the 80s and early 90s with those old north winds, and they kind of went away when the full body craze hit. Nobody was hunting, at least that I know of, was hunting Canada geese or windsock decoys. So we made Canada goose windsock decoys, and we decided that we need to, if we're going to make these, we need to back it up. We need to know if they work. Can you kill Canada geese or windsock decoys? And we're not even Canada goose hunters, but we certainly knew how to hunt. Mm-hmm. So we made it that first year was our idea was to legitimatize the Canada goose and duck windsocks we were making. So we went out to North Dakota in September with a bag of headless Canada goose windsock decoys, and we shot Canada geese. We scouted and we put out 150 decoys and we hid. And we didn't light them up for any reason, but, shot 20, 25 Canada geese, which was more than we ever shot anywhere. So that was like, okay, this might actually work. Then later that year, in October, I'd been going to North Dakota with my dad and a buddy and his dad since, I was 12. And our idea of field hunting for ducks was putting out our 4 dozen floater duck decoys in the field and sitting by a rock pile and putting a mojo out there. And that was, we got them. If we didn't, because they didn't really believe what we were doing, we didn't. So we never really had a whole lot of excitement field hunting ducks. But now we got, a bag of 300 mallard windsocks and some Canada goose windsocks in the back of our truck. We drive out to North Dakota, and we had 2 hunts in the field where we killed ducks and geese, like no problem, over windsock decoys.
It was just 100% windsock decoys?
100% windsock decoys, 100% headless windsock decoys. And one of the days there was no wind. And that's the question we get all the time. Like, what if there's no wind? Well, like day 1, we set them up. There was no wind, and we killed limit of mallards in a field over windsock decoys. Like,
so that's where your backstop comes in.
Yeah,
right?
And because of the feature that you showed us.
Right, the back support. Yeah.
Can you show that one more time?
Yeah, I can pull it up here. So it's pretty standard now in the industry. Everybody's got a back support that keeps the windsock up off the ground when there's no wind. But the idea is that the wind will still catch it and it'll look good even if you got just a little wind, as long as you got that back support in there. And our original concept was you can't store this T-handle. So you fold it down, and now you can store it like those original Northwinds that we had 15 years ago. And it pops back up, and it's better to use that way. But anyways, yeah, so that kind of opened up, the idea of traveling to hunt, getting away from the Mississippi River where we grew up on, to chase better opportunities in the Dakotas, because now we have a mobile decoy spread in the back of our truck that we know we can kill ducks and geese over. And that was, that was awesome. But you bring it back home now to the Mississippi River, and our wheels start turning. Like, well, like I was telling you guys earlier, we're hunting in a pretty high pressured area and out of boats. So we take flat bottom boats out on the river, and we hunt sandbars and mud flats all the time. And we have our 4 dozen floater decoys and 6 floating Canada goose decoys, just like everybody else out there. Well, now I got a bag of windsock decoys. I can put 300 decoys in my boat. And now I'm hunting over 300 decoys, and they're hunting over 40.
Yeah.
Next to this refuge full of thousands of birds, and they're coming out of refuge. And it's like just boom, on, over and over and over. You kind of win the game if you, know that situation where you're hunting out there on the river with the sandbars. So we started hunting the windsock decoys on sandbars over water, and that just was another like, okay, now where can we go with this? How can we use this system?
I've never seen anyone else selling mallard windsocks. Are there a lot of other people even selling them?
Not that I know of. There was a couple companies that do it, but they don't. What we always say is we're the only windsock decoy company that truly believes in the product because we use them. The other companies, they started with their hard plastic full body decoys, and they always just, okay, we got to make a windsock decoy. We'll one off our product line, and here's our windsock decoy.
Yeah.
But then in their videos, and they aren't actually using their windsock decoys. They just want to sell windsock decoys. And we literally go the other way. We want to use windsock decoys. I have no desire to set out a hard plastic full body decoy anymore, because I've seen these work, and they're so much faster and lighter, and the spread is so much bigger than we can do that. So that's why we make mallard windsock decoys, because we hunt mallards over windsock decoys for sure.
And I saw a video. You weren't even on a sandbar. You were just in little shallow bay.
Yeah. Anywhere that ankle deep they're 24-inch stakes. So anything 6 to 8 inches deep, which is typically where a mallard will be feeding. Right. Yeah. We're mallard hunters. We hunt puddle ducks, and that's typically where you hunt. If you're hunting 4 feet deep, that's not where they're feeding. That's not where you probably should be hunting anyway. So we'll hunt them over water all the time. Sheet water for sure. So
I am super excited to get a hold of some, because late season specifically, we hunt the Kansas River that's really, really shallow, and we do a lot of sandbar hunting, and I think we're even going to try it before the freeze this year. And I can't wait to to give them a try, because the thought of transporting that many decoys that easily, because I mean, we've got to really sometimes bust our butt to get down into these riverbanks and
right.
portage stuff and kayak it. And this last year we were doing full bodies, and you know, it's like we're full loaded at about 4 dozen.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely. If you ever need to walk into a field, there's no other, or walk into a spot.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason we exist on the river. We drive our boat and park it, and then we'll walk through the woods to a spot. Or you're always walking somewhere when you're duck hunting. Even if you're hunting water or field, you got to carry your decoys somewhere. So we try to make the ability to carry more is better in our mind. So
that's cool. It's a cool product for sure.
Yeah.
It's a cool product.
So here's kind of a question. I don't mean to derail it too much, but kind of going back to hunting the sandbars and stuff. So let's say like the X is like 150 yards away from the sandbar, and so you're saying you set up on that sandbar, you get all your stake, windsock mallards, and you got this huge set. So you're saying like that'd be good to pull them off the X, kind of, in a way?
So there's 2 ways to hunt, right? You hunt an X where the birds are, and if you do that, it really doesn't matter what type of decoys you use or how many, as long as you're hidden. And that's really the whole idea of us telling you guys how to hunt. Is I'm the only decoy company owner that's going to tell you it doesn't matter what kind of decoy you use. If you go find the X, go sit by the X, put out a realistic size spread and hide, that's how you kill them. But if this product makes you get to the X easier, for sure, always hunt the X, absolutely, no matter what. And that's what we try to do. Is if the X is further away than you can would prefer to walk or can drive to, or you can get more decoys out there, you can get to the X easier. If you're running traffic though, which is a lot of river hunting that we do, is if you have more decoys, you're going to win, right? Running traffic is all about numbers. So if there's any way to get more numbers, it's having smaller decoys. And that's
and what percent of duck hunters do you think ever in their life have put out 300 mallard decoys? Very small.
Man, very few. I would say there's some duck clubs that leave decoys out. There's a few guides on the river that I know of that have really, really big boats that put out numbers like that. But man, it's few and far between. And it doesn't even have to be 300. That's just a number that fits in one of our bags. So that's kind of what I use.
But you can realistically do that. I mean,
that's one bag. We went to the Missouri River maybe 3 years ago, and we had 3 bags of windsock decoys, and we were putting spreads of like 600.
So how big's one bag?
On the river. You can fit 250 headless windsocks in one of our bags.
So like how big is it? Like
it's like 40 inches long. Any more than that, they start getting too heavy don't want to carry them around. So they're 35, 40 pounds, and it's the snow goose hunting mindset. It's less decoys in the smaller space to get your numbers bigger. But if you can get that in your boat now, and you can put 600 decoys in your boat, because if I'm talking to the snow goose guys now, they know that they can afford 1,000 decoy windsock spread or 1,500 decoy. They're okay with that Canada Goose mindset. Buying Canada Goose windsocks to get your numbers to 300-400 Canada Goose windsocks isn't so crazy to them when they're already doing 1,000 snow goose windsocks or 1,500.
Yeah. So your whole strategy.
And you can take it down a level too. 5 dozen headless Canadas and 5 dozen headed Canada Goose windsocks in a bag. Now you're talking 120 decoys. You're still double or triple what most guys are putting out, right? Elliot, you'd say that around there?
Absolutely. I know when we've got an 18-foot well-built boat that we put on the river if it's high enough. Yeah. And when it's late season cold, we pack that thing so full of crap that it almost feels unsafe. By the time you get, we typically go with a couple layout blinds, as many full body mallards as we can, as many big full body geese as we can. By the time you're done in 3 guys, it's like, and your spread's still not all that big.
Right. You don't feel like it's big enough. And that's, we have more confidence in more decoys for sure. So that's That's the idea.
For me, I use my canoe. So when I go out in my canoe, I can fit like one other guy, my dog, and maybe 12 full body geese floaters. And or like, it's just, something like that sounds amazing for what I do, like being able to get a way bigger set. Because right now I have a small set.
Yeah, for sure. And there's nothing against small sets either. If you're hunting the X, you can get away with a lot less decoys. But when you want to hunt bigger, that's what you do.
So now you said you were hunting the Missouri River. Is that like South Dakota, Nebraska border-ish?
Yeah, we hunted that South Dakota, Nebraska border, that area a couple years ago.
How many times have you been there?
Just the once. I think we are going to go back this year.
Yeah, we went up there one time and we missed. My understanding is normally about the mid-November is prime time to be up there. Yep. And that year it was we were a week early. I mean, the front hit. We didn't do very well, but the front hit like 4 days after we left.
Yeah, that's river hunting for you. You got to
what a cool place that is, though, right? That place is unbelievable.
It was cool. Yeah, it reminded me of home, really. I mean, Mississippi River, not as big, not as expansive as I thought it'd be, at least where we were. But it's fun. It's fun to go see new areas for me. That's what I really love about waterfowl hunting is we hunt the Mississippi River and we'll hunt 20, 25 days a year and never hunt the same spot. And that's hunting at home, right? Like it's not the duck club mentality. And then you get your trips in there and you go to North Dakota. I've been going to North Dakota for 20 years and have never hunted the same spot that I can remember. You drive around, you find the birds, you hunt where the birds are. And just seeing different parts of the country or the continent. We were up in Saskatchewan last week hunting snow geese, like end of May. And it's just so cool, the places you can go when you have the mobile spread and you're comfortable hunting like that, just driving, going to find them and figuring it out. The one place that we are a little nervous to go on or never really have is south, because I know you get more people the further south you go. So we typically travel away from people. So that's the idea.
So is that kind of that mentality where you came up with the Nomad Chronicles name?
Absolutely, yep. I mean, that was a tagline that James came up with one time, be a nomad. Like, yeah, that's exactly what we want to be.
You guys are the true definition of freelance duck hunters.
Absolutely. I do not, that's one thing we do with our Nomad Chronicles is we stay away. We get asked to come on guided hunts a lot. And I just don't, I like them. I like the idea. I've been on a few, but when you go there and you set up and the guide says, okay, go over here, do this, and the ducks will come from over there, that's not really the game that we grew up doing. It's not really as fun for me. We went to Arkansas maybe 2 years ago, and we went on a guided hunt down there, and we drove around. I'd never been down to Arkansas, that Stuttgart area, and I've never seen anywhere like it. There's ducks in every section. Have you guys been down there?
Where's that at again?
In Arkansas, Stuttgart, the duck capital of the world, right?
The gun capital, yeah.
So every section has water, and every section has ducks in it, and you can drive around all day looking at ducks, but you can't go hunt them. Like, you can't go knock on that door, and that person is not going to say, yes, go shoot those ducks. You're going to have to pay them or get in with the duck club. So we were with a guide, and we hunted one of his, or 2 or 3 of his 6 or 7 spots. He's just rotating guys around hunting spots, and I'm like, yeah, I see what it is down here. I get it, but that's not what we're living for. That's not the adventure that we strive for.
I couldn't agree more. We had a lease for the first time this past year, and we never actually ended up hunting it because the ducks just never showed up. We put millet in there, and they just never showed up. But honestly, and we were going to only hunt it about 30% of the hunts. But as the time started coming closer, I started just thinking the thought of having that blind out there, getting up at the last second, casually waltzing out to it, and it was just like the adrenaline of the adventure and the unknown of where are you going to go, the public land, and even beating people to places.
Absolutely.
It's such an adrenaline rush.
That's the duck hunting that I know. That's the game part. It's then you're actually winning and you're experiencing something new. If you're just getting up and going to your pit day after day, I mean, there's places in the country that's what you have to do to hunt ducks, but there's places that you don't. So that's kind of what we try to do.
Yeah.
And I think that really stemmed from our snow goose, back in high school and college when we didn't really know why we wanted to go we just knew we had spring break off and we weren't going to Mexico. We got in the truck and drove west. And the first 2 years, we just tried to jump shoot snow geese, and it was so much fun. The things you'd see and the places, the little, restaurants and motels, the dive motels you can find out there in no man's land. That's the adventure. So lowering that bar to entry to get guys to, have the confidence to put the decoys in the back of their truck that they know they can drive 5 hours or 10 hours or 24 hours and have a successful hunt. That's what we're about, and that's what we do. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's very cool. And I'd say there's certainly a time and a place, and there's nothing wrong with people that have, the pit blinds, and some people love that, but I think there's just some of us, it just doesn't quite seem as appealing.
Right.
To each his own, right?
Exactly.
So
there's a lot of guys that, all right, go ahead.
I think like the similarity you could kind of pull from different hunting, it'd be kind of like Western hunting where you're always on the move, opposed to like, Eastern hunting or like Midwestern hunting when you're hunting for deer and you're like always in your tree stand, but Western hunters kind of mobile. So, I mean, two different types of hunting almost in the same kind of, field.
Exactly.
So kind of changing subjects from where we're at, but just kind of a little bit more about you, Jake. I guess you're saying you guys hunt a crazy number of trips, it sounds like, each year. I mean, maybe not like crazy, but to me, a guy who doesn't do out-of-state trips yet, because I'm planning on planning on it. But how many trips do you guys go on per year?
I wouldn't say a crazy amount. I'm pretty lucky where, like I said, 5 years ago or so, I was able to turn this into my kind of job, and I do all the marketing and the videos that some of you guys have probably seen our YouTube channel. That's me filming. We kind of go on these hunts as part of what we do to, run our business. But, growing up, we would always try to go somewhere for a weekend, 3 or 4 days early season, and then try to go back to North Dakota in October, and then, 2 trips a year for the original part of my waterfowl hunting was what we did. The last couple of years, it's been a little bit more. Let's see where we went last year. I make 10 to 14 videos of hunts in the season. 3 or 4 or 5 are usually on the river. So I would say 7 trips a year between September and May, which is
awesome.
Is really exciting, right? Like if
that's awesome.
Think about it, you can hunt waterfowl if you're willing to travel September 1st or even August 15th. You can hunt them in Minnesota and North Dakota. I think they might have taken that away from Minnesota last year, but all the way we just got done in May. So it's a year round, every 6 weeks or so, 8 weeks, we try to go somewhere.
So how do you decide when you're going to film a hunt and when you're not?
I always film it.
So you just put out the selective ones that you really like, or how's that work?
I try to hunt when I know it's going to be pretty good. And if we go on a trip, I'll film, the whole trip. And I put out most of the hunts on the trip. If we're around home, at least the last couple of years, I get more excitement if I know I'm going to be able to film and it's going to be good. So I'll kind of hold back and not even go unless it's going to be pretty good. If it's not going to be good, I'll go and hunt. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I like to film. That's what drives me now. I'm the photographer of the group for sure. But the rest of the guys, they like to
How
hunt.
much are you putting down the gun? Are you typically film first, shoot second, or you guys rotate it? How do you guys work that through your group?
I'm the only videographer of the group, so I film everything. Once they get their limit, I'll set the gun down and shoot a few at the end if I feel like it. But I will always pick up the camera first, for sure.
It's fun.
You never know.
It's fun.
You never know what's gonna come. You never know what's gonna happen, right? Some of the videos we put together, we have no idea what the hunt's gonna be, and then it turns out to be something. Whoa! I'm really glad I had the camera because now we get to relive that forever. So
that is the best thing about filming hunts. And this is why I started filming hunts to begin with, because after my dad and I were keeping hunt logs on Excel, and after we've been doing that about 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years, I would look back at those and I would keep notes, but I couldn't remember the hunts like I wanted to.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to keep a video log. And so I just started keeping a video log, and it's now I remember so much about every single hunt now because I can go back and relive it whenever. That's the best part of it. Exactly. I don't care if anyone else watches it or not.
For sure.
Having that,
is
invaluable.
That's awesome. And like I started in college, we had, hunt logs for sure. How many were shooting a trip, and we're trying to figure out how to hunt around here. And the logs really helped at that point, like, oh, now I remember November 17th is when you got to be out there on the river. Whereas if I wouldn't have written that down, I was like, I don't know, what do you do? But that once we kind of figured it out, it turned into photography, and I got into taking pictures of the hunt, and not just the pile at the end. Take the pictures of the video or pictures during the hunt, and then that turned into, okay, I got to buy a video camera. Oh, now I can actually film the hunt. Yeah, so it's fun. We've upgraded equipment, and you take more time and updated, editing software. But
so do you guys still keep notes and log all your stuff? And if so, what format do you use to do that?
We don't anymore. No, we kind of grown up, got kids, ran out of time to write that stuff down. But I used to, for sure, growing up.
Well, I've got a website that came out last year, and we're just updating it now, and it makes it super easy to hop on the computer, and you can even do it off your phone and just log everything about your hunt in about 3 minutes, and then it kicks out statistics. So I've got my last 10 years now logged into this thing, and I can see over the past 10 years how well I've done on sunny days, cloudy days, north wind, south wind, per each location. I mean, it is. And here's the cool thing. I just found this out yesterday because the whole filtering system has just been it just started working. Over the last 10 years on sunny days, my average is 2.4 per hunt, and on cloudy days, my average is 3.1, which I was like, whoa.
Because you can filter that, down to that information. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, you can filter down to that information per where you hunt as well. So you can see like a pool, at this pool, how have I done over the time? What conditions have I done the best? So if you guys are ever interested in doing that, in fact, if you want, I'd be happy to hook you up with a free membership. So you can go, and if you're interested, let me know.
For sure. I mean, check it out. I don't, I'm not a big numbers guy. I'm not a stats guy anymore, especially when I'm not pulling the trigger, but
yeah,
there's a lot of numbers people out there that could really start writing stuff down and remember, because you're not taking video and picture. How are you going to know? So I absolutely start writing stuff down. Helps you remember.
It certainly does. It's certainly going to appeal to stats guy. If you're not a numbers guy, that site is not going to be something that. But I am such a numbers guy. And plus, if I'm like at work and bored, and I can sneak onto it and look at it.
Yeah, right. Sure.
Well, you just do it on your phone, right? You just
That's right.
Funny.
All right. Well, I guess this is a good transition point. So one thing we've been doing, guys, is we got a Facebook group, Fellowship of the Duck Gun. So if you haven't checked us out there, make sure to check us out there. And you can follow me and Elliot on our YouTube channels, Gun Chronicles, and Elliot at Freelance Duck Hunting. And Jake, why don't you go ahead and shoot out your social media where people can find you?
Yeah, sure. We're whiterockdecoys.com on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
All right. So I guess you have anything else to add before we jump to the lightning round, Elliot?
I did want to ask about, because I know that you guys do the silhouettes as well.
Yeah.
And my question was, what do you think is the ideal? Do you think it matters between the two to filter them in together, like the socks and the silhouettes? And if so, kind of what proportionately would you found most successful?
So I get that question all the time, not all the time, but it's common, what should I choose, a silhouette or a windsock, or am I mixing them? And what we tell guys is we started with windsock decoys, right? Like, we're snow goose hunters. We hunt over windsock decoys, and we're really comfortable killing birds over windsock decoys. Even if there's no wind, we have a lot of confidence to kill, especially ducks. Ducks are really dumb, especially in the field. They'll decoy to windsocks with no wind. But even Canada's, we prefer to hunt Canada geese over windsock decoys compared to silhouettes. And that's just personal preference. Whatever you're most comfortable with doing, that's what you should do. We started making the silhouettes because we get that, I don't know about windsock decoys question a lot. There's not always a lot of wind. So then I'm like, okay, go to the silhouette for sure. If you have confidence hunting Canada geese over silhouette decoys has been around forever, right? You guys have seen people, it's a proven tactic. So if you're confident in hunting over a silhouette decoy, that's what you should use. But like I said, personally, we'll grab a bag of wind socks before we grab a bag of silhouettes. But it's really up to, the hunter for sure.
Gotcha. One more question I want to ask. I saw a video, and before we have to talk about the corn hunt before we close this. We have to talk about that.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I saw a video where you were like running over a decoy with a tractor.
Oh yeah, those are our floaters. So we kind of came full circle there. All right, we made windsocks and silhouettes, and okay, we still hunt ducks on the Mississippi River for the majority of our duck season at home. We better figure out how to make a floating duck decoy, right? So we came out with 2 floating decoys, and it's that EVA material that a lot of guys are going to. We just took it another step further where it's a little more rubberized, and it follows the Nomad idea a little bit better, where it can be collapsible and it's lightweight. But it's a rubberized plastic, and it's super durable, and you can't break them. And that's our floater duck line.
It's like the old carry lights on steroids, essentially.
Yeah. We ran it over with
carry lights were not that tough.
It was really funny. So my wife grew up on a farm. I was back there, and her dad, I said, "Grandpa, I need a big sledgehammer, and will you come videotape me? I'm gonna beat the out of this decoy." He's like, "Yeah, what are you doing, Jake? Okay, yeah, sure, whatever." So he gets me a sledgehammer, and he says something like, I'll show you how to run it over with that tractor. That'd be funny." Like, okay, yeah, let's try that. So we went to the shop, and we put it down, and he fired her up, and we ran it over with the tractor. And I honestly didn't know what was going to happen either, but it popped right back. And that's the material. That's the new age we live in.
It was right back into shape. From where I watched, I couldn't even tell. I'm sure there must have been some tread mark on it a little bit, but you couldn't see it on the video.
No, it's really cool. It's really cool. The materials you can get these days. So it's a kind of expensive material to make, but if you want a decoy that's not going to break, get after it for sure.
And the paint seems kind of modeled into the shape, so I'm assuming that the paint probably doesn't chip like a lot of do either.
Yeah, no, paint's pretty good. So we worked a lot of years on getting paint to stick on soft plastic with our flocked head decoys. We've been making soft plastic heads and painting them for a long time, so paint's good.
Awesome. Cool. I guess I did have one more question kind of brought up from that conversation, but something I was thinking about with your decoy strategy. So when you're setting up like on a sandbar and you got that big spread, kind of what is your strategy for the setup? I know some people, have different kind of, setups, the way they set up their decoys. So I guess kind of what do you use for your strategy for that?
So we're kind of against, not that we're against it, but we don't really buy into shape, right? Like birds don't sit in shapes. We make blobs, and we come from the snow goose hunting world of, making a big white blob, not a circle, not a donut, not a U. Put the decoys so they look natural to the birds. And that's how we, you can kind of direct them to where you're going to have to sit with where you put the decoys for sure. And depending on wind direction and how strong the wind is and the sun and all that stuff, but never hardly a shape. We'll leave a little pocket sometimes on the water for ducks for sure. Oh, an opening for ducks. But as far as Canada geese, they're coming to the decoys, man.
Gotcha.
That's interesting.
So, and there's guys will tell me that I'm wrong, but I'm telling you, that's how we do it. Yes.
If you're killing ducks, you're not wrong.
Right. You're killing ducks, you're doing something right, right?
Finishing them, you're not wrong.
Yeah. So.
All right. Anything else you want to add, Elliot, before the lightning round?
No, other than we will not get off here until we talk about that. But,
okay.
Other than that,
we'll end it with epic corn hunt.
Yeah,
I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, me either. All right, so lightning round, quick questions, quick answers.
Okay.
All right, so what gun do you shoot?
I shoot a Benelli Super Black Eagle 2.
What's your dream gun?
I don't have a dream gun. I would have a dream video camera, but I don't even know what that is. So,
I guess
really
for
fancy.
you, what is your camera you shoot with?
Right.
Since you're...
Here's a funny story. It's not quick, but that's typically what I do. I've crashed 2 drones in my life, and I finally said, I'm not buying any more drones because I keep crashing them into stuff. So I haven't bought one for the last 2 years, and now I'm kind of, all right, I want another drone. I got to get one that got smaller and easier to use and less expensive.
Well, they've got a waterproof one now. I saw.
Oh, do they?
I saw on Facebook. It came down the thread. They were splashing it out of the water.
There you go. That's probably.
Well, it doesn't matter if it's waterproof and it sinks.
That's true. They weren't
fly it through the rain, but you can't fly it through the river.
That would be the point of having that if it didn't float.
All right. What shot size for ducks?
I shoot 3-inch BB for everything.
Wow. For everything?
Everything. Well, other than like teal in September. But okay. I mean, like I said, I don't shoot that much, so 3-inch BBs are my gun.
All right. Ducks or geese?
I like ducks.
Ducks or snow geese?
I like ducks. I do. I really do.
Face or no face paint?
No face paint.
Ammunition brand?
Cheap. Federal blue box. Federal blue box.
Federal blue box. Like, beard or no beard?
Just the 7-day scruff when you get home. It's got to come off.
That's the first person that has gone the no beard route.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, that let's see. Virginia Outdoors also was no beard, but
oh yeah, well,
he's a little. Well, he's a little younger, so.
I love the guy. He's awesome. But
yeah, he's awesome. Rivers or let's go with fields.
Ooh, I like the Mississippi River. Yep, river.
All right. Let's see. Mornings or evenings?
My buddies will get a kick out of that, but evenings. I'm a afternoon hunter.
That's a
if I don't have to get up at 3 a.m. and I can kill ducks just the same, I'll go out at 3 p.m. That sounds great.
And you have just as good success?
It depends on the time of year and what you're doing. Yeah.
Nice.
For sure.
Any questions you want to add to the lightning round, Elliot?
What? Tell me what your cameras that you're using are, and whether they're DSLR or.
I do 95% of my videoing with a Sony PXW Z150. I think it is, whatever those numbers mean.
Yeah, we had the same conversation with someone else. It's like someone needs to get into marketing on these cameras and quit naming them numbers.
Right. Who can keep track?
Like my backup question was asked, okay, well, how much does that cost? Because that's the question that'll really let you know. And you don't have to.
Right. So it's not a super high end, but it's not a super low end. It's a good one. Actually, Johnny Lewis, you guys had him on here. He told me what to buy, so I trust him.
Nice.
Is that a DSLR?
Yep, I got a DSLR, but I don't film with it very often. I almost always film with the Sony.
The Sony's is not then a DSLR.
No, it's a full-on video camera for sure. And I got a GoPro and some stuff, but 95% with that Sony video camera.
How often do you use the GoPro?
Man, pretty rare.
Gotcha.
Well, if you have a really nice camera, it's like, and you're not. I mean, GoPros are great if people don't. No one wants to pick up the camera.
Yeah.
Or people are incompetent at using the camera, which is the case of our group sometimes. But
yeah.
What about DSLRs? Use those at all, or?
No, not too much. And it's really funny actually. Now I have this really nice fancy DSLR, and I take 100% of the still photos that I'm going to take on my iPhone 7.
Oh my God.
Like every photo you see on Facebook and our website from the last year and a half has been taken from my iPhone.
I mean, it does a good job. It's so
much easier to work with them. You know, it's right up. It's right where I need it to be, and they do a good job.
Yeah.
What is your camera again? A Sony what? XL?
Z150. If you Sony Z150, you'll find it. So.
Yeah, those iPhones are so much more convenient, but I definitely am a fan of the DSLR with a 50mm lens. That's my bread and butter.
I'm so busy on that video camera.
Yeah, I hear you on that.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
All right, if anyone has questions, go ahead and drop them in here. We'll just keep chatting.
While we wait for questions, can we talk about the corn hunt now?
Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's hear the corn hunt story from start to finish.
From start to finish. All right. So on the river, our water levels are affected by rain up north, right? Like northern Minnesota. When you get a lot of rain, the river comes up, or when you get your spring melt. It's pretty rare to get that amount of rain in the fall. I would say over the last 20 years, we've kind of had a flooded timber option. You get one every 5 years or so. in the October, November timeframe, where it has to rain like 10 or 12 or 15 inches somewhere up north for the river to come up enough to flood it during the fall. And we just so happened to have one of those events a week before the duck season. It was 2 years ago. And the river came up every single day. It happened around here, came up every single day all week. We had scouted all summer long, right? We have our plan where all the ducks are, and then that changes everything. So we literally scouted Monday, Tuesday on the river, knowing that the river's going to come up so much that the ducks are going to have to leave the river because there's too much water. The mallards, the wood ducks, they feed in a foot of water. So there's going to be 5 feet of water everywhere in between the railroad tracks on the river. So we started looking for edges, you know, how to get off an edge of the deeper water is going to be somewhere where it's shallower water. And we were just driving around in our boats trying to find this edge where the water is shallower. And we found some, you know, we had a couple little plans. We pulled the boat out of the landing on, I think it was the Tuesday before the Saturday opener. And we just drove home a different route, not really looking for a field with ducks in it, but we saw a bean field and it had about 50 teal that kicked out of it. And we're like, oh, that's kind of cool. Never thought about hunting a field. So we go over to the farmhouse across the street, and it's private land, so we had to ask for permission, but we know how to do that. It's pretty rare. The guy says, you want to hunt ducks in my field? He's like, nobody's ever hunted ducks in my field before. But sure, like, have at them. We're like, okay. So we watched it Wednesday and Thursday, and we would just watch the duck numbers build quite a bit. As the river kept coming up, it kept pushing ducks off the main parts where they normally would be, further out into the countryside, and they just kept finding this little spot in the bean field is what we saw. Then that last Friday night before the Saturday morning opener, we were sitting out there glassing it. We knew that's where we were going to go, and we were planning on hunting the beans, and somebody was picking with their tractor up on the hill, and right at dark, thousands of ducks got out of the middle of this cornfield that we didn't even know were in there because they had been sitting in there all day, and we never saw them go in. And we're like, oh, I guess some ducks found the corn. There's got to be some water back there in that corn. So the plan changed a little bit. The same farmer had the cornfield, so we went out there the next morning, and we had a satellite photo that night on Google Maps and kind of found where the low spot might be or why there'd be water back in there. Went out there that morning and kicked out some teal and stuff. They weren't a lot roosted there, but at shooting light, it was just the most unbelievable experience I've ever had in my life, because that cornhole was, 15 yards across and maybe 30 yards wide. And we had 5 or 6 guys lining it. And it was literally thousands of ducks at your feet for an hour and a half, I would say. It was just unreal.
I mean, it looks like, when you have on the video, how you look around, there's like lots of mosquitoes around.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like on the video.
Yeah, it was a beehive, and I've never been inside one of those. You see flooded cornfield hunts sometimes, and I've never hunted a flooded cornfield
like that.
No. So we had no idea going in what it was going to be, and we didn't have any idea it was going to be anything like that. But I was just giggling. Like, that was the first hunt I've ever filmed with that new video camera.
Oh, nice.
I'm taking it out in waist deep water, walking through the corn, and we're carrying our lightweight floater decoys, right? I don't know, whatever. Don't drop the camera, Jake. And I turned it on. I'm like, holy cow, this is something special. And I don't think we knew what it was until we got home and I started re-watching it on the footage. And I called my guys and that was unbelievable, guys. I've never seen anything like this on film.
There's probably too much stimulus even to intake when you were there.
I mean, I'm filming around. I had no idea what to film, and I edited it together, and I'm like, this is going to be cool. Like, there's going to be some guys that are going to like this. I put it out there, and it just went crazy on YouTube and Facebook, and I mean, hundreds of thousands of views, and I still get guys. There was a guy in North Dakota this fall. I was at a gas station buying a cheeseburger, and he came up to me, tapped me on the shoulder, and says, "You filmed that duck hunt in that cornfield, didn't you?"
Yeah.
people know the duck hunt in the cornfield. Like,
You guys have not seen that, you can go to the Nomad Chronicles is the name of the YouTube channel, right? Or that's the name.
we have 2 YouTube channels. It's on both of them on our Facebook page, White Rock Decoys, and it's
If
called
you have not seen that, go check it out. What's it called?
Insane Flooded Cornfield Duck Hunt. It's the most watched video we've ever had by far. So
how many views is it at right now? Do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head. It's 100,000 or so for sure plus, and it was fun. It was a once in a lifetime experience. I'd say there was a lot of wood ducks, but there was a lot of other stuff too. We were picking out whatever we.
Yeah, because it got to the point where the shooters were passing up on all sorts of stuff.
I mean, it was
they wanted to kill.
We could have shot, hundreds and hundreds of ducks.
Oh my
so
God.
It's very
if everyone would have just kept shooting, you literally could have shot hundreds and hundreds of ducks.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was really funny. It was awesome.
That was crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess this kind of goes without saying, but you guys all got your limit.
We did. Like I said, we're really careful about when you film your hunt. The guys can't shoot my limit, right? That's party hunting, and so we were almost done, and they were going to be done, and I'm like, guys, take the camera, film. I can shoot 5 more ducks. And then I look at the footage of them, what they filmed, and I'm like, oh, this is why you don't film.
Yeah.
I didn't get it. But, I shot 2 or whatever, 3 wood ducks at our limit, and it was cool. It was super awesome.
Very cool.
Any bands?
No bands on that hunt.
No bands. That's a lot of
rare
ducks,
to get
too.
a band on the river. We shot a neck-calling snow goose and a band up in Saskatchewan 2 weeks ago, though, so that was cool.
Nice.
Bands are rare, hard to come by as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Looks like we did get a couple questions. So, Mr. Greenhead asked, river on a stormy day or a nice clear day? On preference.
Late season on the river in the afternoon, sunny day with a wind. Bam. For sure.
And then let's see, Andrew, what do you think? Is asking about another decoy company. He thinks that White Rock Decoys are the way to go.
All right, I like you, Andrew. I think you're right. So
Zach says it made his duck depression worse. I agree.
Sorry, guys. Yeah. It's not too far now, right? It's like June, July, August. We do game fair. We start talking about ducks again. If you guys got a duck event around your area, the Shields ones do a good job. The Cabela's ones are okay, and the Rogers one, I'll be down there in Rogers, Kansas City, Missouri in August, and come say hi for sure.
I may have to come do that. That's only like 30 minutes for me.
Oh, for sure.
I'll definitely meet up and I'll say hey.
It'll be fun.
Cool.
Awesome.
That's in August at Rogers?
Yeah, first weekend in August.
Okay. I love Rogers. It's a great place.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Anything else you guys want to add before we end this?
I think we've hit it, man. You've done an excellent job detailing everything. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I appreciate the time and talking to you guys, and hopefully taught some people some stuff. And
one other thing. So White Rock Decoys has put out a discount code for you guys if you guys are interested in purchasing White Rock Decoys. It's in the description down below, Duck Gun Pod, and it's 10% off. So be sure to check that out if you're looking into the White Rock Decoys.
Yeah, head over to the whiterock.com. We got a lot of stuff coming in this time of year, so if there's something out of stock, put a back order in with that code, or it'll be coming in here in June, July. We get ramped up for the season.
Awesome. All right, guys, that's all we got for tonight. So we'll see you guys next time.